The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development today awarded the state of Michigan $2.2 million to fight housing discrimination. One organization receiving the money is the Fair Housing Organization Center of Southeast and Mid-Michigan, which covers 10 counties, including Ingham County.
We get between 150 and 180 complaints a year. And the most common complaint we get is discrimination based on physical disability. The second most common is race. And the third most common is disability based on mental or emotional disability. And then in number 4 is familial status, which is just a fancy word for families that have children under the age of 18.
In Ingham County, the organization received 33 complaints from 2018 to 2020, almost all of them from the city of Lansing. From Lansing alone, it has received 18 complaints so far in 2021. Executive Director Pam Kish says the money will be spent on education.
With the education funding, we're going to be doing training of people who work in social service agencies to make sure they are housing literate.
And it will go toward enforcement.
So with that grant, we're going to take about 165 complaints a year. We're going to investigate those complaints through testing. And so we're going to make a lot of referrals to legal services.
Testing properties means sending people undercover to investigate a housing discrimination claim.
We have a list of about 70 testers, and we would send out a black tester and a white tester to visit the same landlord. And everything about the testers would be the same. They'd probably both be women, they'd both be married, they'd both have 1 or 2 children. I mean, everything would be equal, but the black tester would be more highly qualified, more years on the job, higher income, those kinds of things. So on paper, everything about the black tester would be preferable. And then we see how the landlord responds.
There are laws against housing discrimination. It still persists.
There's 2 primary sources of fair housing law. One is under a federal statute and the other is a Michigan statute. What they aim to do is prohibit discrimination in housing based on various characteristics. And so those characteristics are race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, which means the presence of kids under the age of 18, and against persons with disabilities. And then that's under the federal and state laws. And then the state law adds 2 additional categories, which are age and marital status.
The money comes at a time when the nationwide moratorium on evictions is set to expire. Ann Rout, attorney for the Michigan Advocacy Program, says the issue with evictions intersects with the issue of housing discrimination.
Well, what we've seen is, there's this huge crush of eviction cases going on right now. And so it's really hard to kind of sort through that to understand, are there underlying issues going on there? Are people not getting the services that they should have as a person with disabilities? So there should be reasonable accommodations in place. We want to make sure certain communities aren't more impacted than others.
Housing can determine job opportunities, where children go to school, and even health outcomes. Kish tells me this is a primary reason why housing discrimination is a vital issue in communities. I'm Margaret Cahill reporting, Fox 47 News.